An investigation into the controversial Garden Bridge across the Thames has revealed that David Cameron personally intervened to push the project through. The National Audit Office says the former Prime Minister ensured that millions of pounds of taxpayer money would be spent, despite mounting evidence of the project's financial risks. Mark Ashdown has more on this for us and is by the river.
Yes, Riz, this has been billed by many as a visionary project. Now it's been criticised as something of a vanity project, which is putting millions of pounds of public money at risk. Now, this report today by the National Audit Office reveals that over the past few years, top-level ministers, including George Osborne as Chancellor and, yes, David Cameron when he was Prime Minister, repeatedly ignored the advice of their top officials that this project was poor value for money and ploughed ahead, pumping more and more money into it. Now, it's due to be built just behind me here, across from the South Bank into the city in Covent Garden. And the whole project is expected to cost about £185 million in total. Now, that's made up of £30 million coming from the government, another £30 million coming from Transport for London. That, incidentally, signed off by Boris Johnson when he was mayor. The rest of the money coming from private finance. Now, this report warns there is a significant risk it could now fail. If that happens, it says £22.5 million of taxpayer money would be written off, would just float away down the Thames there. No wonder then those campaigners who've been against this from the very start, I spoke to them a moment ago, they are fuming.
Once this has been declared dead, which it will be declared dead pretty soon, about £50 million will have been lost. That's the equivalent of 2 Millennium Bridges. We could have 2 glistening new Millennium Bridges really taking people on foot across this river, and instead we've had this folly, this nonsense for the last 3 years. It's a disgrace.
Mark, do we know how likely it is that the project will go ahead as planned?
Well, it is a bit up in the air. It has been delayed for 18 months, and as you can see, construction hasn't even started. And now Boris Johnson, of course, has left City Hall. Sadiq Khan, the new mayor, well, the first thing he did, or one of them, after he was elected, was to launch an inquiry into its viability. Now, I spoke to the Garden Bridge Trust today, who are responsible. They say 78% of the funding will still come from the private sector. This money from the government was always meant to be a cash injection, a kickstart, and they say this whole project will be a tremendous investment for the public. But if it does fail, as many now predict, it would be a spectacularly embarrassing and expensive folly, some say. But one thing you couldn't say it's lacking, and this report lays it bare, is support from the very top-level politicians.
OK, Mark, thanks very much.